We're at Hamnøy Bridge, the most classic and iconic shot of Lofoten.
We reach Hamnøy right after we leave the second tunnel. We can park in one of two spots. First is at the bus stop, at the very end of it, just make sure you don't interrupt any buses. The second one is on the street to the right, at the small hill with the huge white tank on top of it. We take a few steps from the parking lot and we're at the top of the bridge when we take a shot from.
The red roadbower on the bottom with the majestic mountains in the back. The weather is quite good today, although it was raining a little bit, but right now we have clouds, some little bit of sun dripping through the clouds and giving some light on the mountains in the back. So it should be quite a good shoot.
The composition is pretty standard for this place. So we put the mountain in the top third of the picture, put the roadbower in the middle of them, and the waves and the rocks in the bottom. No point of overcomplicating it. Okay, let's start the edit now. We drag the images to the Photoshop, and when we import them, we make sure we press Shift to import them as an objects. That way we can use the full RAW capability. So this will be our main picture, and this is the picture that we're going to take the sky from. We move it using Shift to automatically align the layers. And right now we're going to add a black mask, keeping Alt pressed. We want to do two things right now. From the main image, we want to remove chromatic aberrations. We also want to get rid of the vignette. We're not fixing the distortion, because this could affect different layers differently. And for the sky layer, we don't need to worry about the vignette, so we're only removing chromatic aberrations. Alright. And now we're going to use the Luminosity Masks to paint the sky. So we're going to generate the brights masks using the Easy panel. We want to choose the one that separates the mountain from the sky as much as possible, but keeping the details in the sky as well. So we're going to choose the second one. We click with Control and we can select the entire thing. Then we click Control H to remove the marching ants. We take a white soft brush and we start painting the sky. We do it a few times just to make copying thicker and get more details from this layer. Just remember that luminosity masks are kind of like 3D, so when we copy the layer below, whenever it's black, we don't copy anything. When it's white, we copy everything, and when it's gray, we copy it a little bit. We can delete the masks now, and right now we want to work on the hill as well. So we're going to create a copy of this layer, use the black mask again, and this time we're going to use the mid-tone masks. And we're going to use the most contrasty mask to separate the sky from the mountain in the most possible way. Alright, so we click with Control on the mask, everything is being selected. We click Ctrl H to remove the marching ants. And now we paint with the white brush over the mountain. We don't need to worry about that it's so dark right now. We're going to moderate how this layer affects the layer below by using the opacity of this layer. And by the way, there will be a full tutorial on how to using the luminosity masks. So just make sure you click on the subscribe button to get notified when the tutorial is up. Also, I'll put the link to the easy panel in the below. It's a free panel, so you can download it for free. So we're gonna work on the hill for a little bit longer. Let's delete those masks. And right now we lower the opacity and we see that it affects the layer below a little bit less. We're going to work on the contrast of the hill and the brightness of the hill a little bit more. So we're going to use the camera raw filter for that. We're going to increase the exposure a little bit. We're going to increase contrast a lot and bring out the shadows a little bit. All right. Okay, this is before, this is after. So let's start working on the main layer first. So we're only focusing on the bottom part. So we start by increasing the contrast. We're gonna bring out the shadows a little bit too. And we want to increase the vibrance to bring out the colors a little bit more. We also want to focus on the yellow grass. So we're gonna switch to HSL panel and increase the oranges and the yellows just a little bit, so to make the grass pop a little bit more. Let's see. All right, let's increase the warmth of the layer a little bit. So we double click on the image, go back to camera raw, increase the temperature just a little bit. And let's see what we have. Okay, this is before, this is after. Small change. Okay, let's work on the top part right now. We focus only on the sky part. We increase the contrast a little bit, not too much, so we don't end up with like a crazy HDR picture. We'll lower the highlights, and I think that's good enough for that. So this is before, this is after. And now let's work on the mountain a little bit more, because right now it's a bit too dark. So we simply lower its opacity. That way we get more details from the layer underneath it. Now we want to add a little vignette to this image. So we want to create a new layer out of the layers below. For that, we click Ctrl Alt Shift E. That creates a new layer. And again, we apply a camera raw filter to that layer. We create a small vignette just like that. And that's it.